Hello again. It's a nice day, windy but not wet, so I'm going to get a head start on getting the car dismantled. Going to start underneath, disconnect back of the gearbox. Some of you will be pleased to know that I'm finally going to replace that rather knackered guibo and all the bolts that go with it. I'm also going to replace the centre bearing on the prop shaft while that's out. But yeah, let's get that undone and then I'll start taking stuff off the front and I'll show you my erection as well. That'll make sense in a minute. So underneath the car, it's all a little bit tight. I haven't fully extended the jack stands, but it's tricky without balancing the car on a block of wood on top of the jack, and that's never fun. What we can see is that my bonded on HV cable guides, 3D printed ones, have worked really nicely and held really well. Like not a single one has shifted at all. So that's fantastic news. It means we can be comfortable using those on the other side, probably this side, for the secondary battery pack. Run those up this side, and then here is the thing we're here to take out. Those nasty old rusty old guibo bolts, giubo technically, and the centre bearing, although we won't do that right now. We'll just get the giubo off, and we'll leave it hanging since we're replacing the centre bearing anyway. I'm not too worried about, well, I'll probably tie it up with some cable ties or something. But yeah, spanners, and then you can see also up there my bodged together shift linkage, which is one of the things we're going to replace, and also my slightly too far forward, I think. Can't remember whether it's too far forward or too far back gearbox mount, which will be shunted into the proper place anyway. We'll get that all nicely lined up. I think, yeah, the gearbox needs to, I can't remember actually. Yeah, the mount needs to move, and the actual connection between the gearbox mounts, which are in pretty decent shape actually, I think. Gearbox mounts here need to move around as well. All being, anyway, I'm rambling. Short version is the gearbox moves forwards a little bit, hoping there's enough space. Have noticed there's a bit of weeping around here. I mean, not just me weeping at the amount of work I've got to do, but I think I'm losing a bit of gearbox oil. So we'll sort that out while this is all out. We'll probably put some ATF in, which seems to be what people do these days to improve the quality of the shift. Right, enough rambling. Let's get all this disconnected. All bolts out. Oh, is that focusing? I can't even tell. Yeah, ish. That was not easy. Those were very seized. So it took quite a lot of work to get rid of that. What? I don't know if you can see anything. There we go. It's actually so close to my face, I can't tell if it's focused. Anyway, they're gone. And I've disconnected all the gear linkage as well. Still got this, whatever it is, I think reversing sensor up there, where my fingers are to get out. But other than that, it's good to go. So that out of the way, time to start taking stuff off the front. This whole front valance comes off relatively easily. Less so now that I've mounted the radiator to it. But just the 4 bolts either side, or 4 nuts rather either side, where the old bumper mount used to go, which I may put back when I put this back together, and then just these 10 mils on the corners. Disconnect all the hoses, and I've already disconnected the wiring loom. So yeah, pull that off next. Take it out the back to my erection. There we go. Front's off. It's all nice and accessible now. So obviously we've got our charger here, high voltage junction box, battery box, and as I mentioned I think previously, plan is to move the charger, if it'll fit, up to here. I've got some, that's angle actually, but I've got some scrap steel I'm going to use to make a little pad for that, a little mount for that. Oh, just got dribbled on. Probably should have moved my floor mat first. Yeah, so that's all good to go basically. So once when I've got some more time, I'll disconnect the rest of the high voltage, although as you can see I've done quite a lot of it already. Disconnect the rest of the coolant lines and start taking individual pieces out. So take the charger out first. High voltage junction box comes away with the battery box, so we'll actually just probably lift that out at the last minute. But we can take the charger and we can take the inverter out, get those out of the way. We might take the power steering pump out, because I'm going to replace the this high pressure pipe. I've got a shorter one with a right angle on it, so that it's not doing such awkward things. And yeah, right, time to put some stuff away. So my big erection's back up in the back garden. A gazebo. Obviously the workbench is still here. I'm really looking forward to taking this apart and putting it into a garage one day, but not today, sadly. So in here, got my workmate, got some lights, my filming lights from the garage installed in the ceiling. Need some bigger bulbs really, but it's enough light for the daytime. Could do with a bit more at night. Here I've got my new shift linkage. I'm pretty sure this is a short shifter actually. I think that's a shorter, could be wrong, but it feels like a shorter thing than my other one. The bush I'd quite like to replace, we'll see. It doesn't look in great shape. Obviously it all needs a clean. Here some scrap steel. It's about, the walls are, what are they, 0.8 mil, something like that, which should be fine for a little cradle for the charger. Got my engine crane from the storage unit, and my welding jacket. The welder and stuff are in my little shed out the front, so that's all ready to go for modifications to the mounting brackets. And they're the bit we've just taken off, so we can store stuff out here. I mean, maybe someone wants to steal parts of my DIY EV, but I think it's unlikely. Taking advantage of a little break in the rain to do some more disconnecting. Really need to get some external connectors on here so I don't have to take the lid off every time I want to add something. We're not talking huge amounts of current here, so maybe even some Anderson style connectors would do. But yeah, charger coming out. Here we go, rather emptier engine bay. So everything's got a little bit rusty, but not too bad actually. So next time it's engine crane, battery box out. Not really going to move the battery box anywhere very much unless I strip it down, which I may have to do. But I want to get the extra module ready to go first. In fact, I'm going to have to strip it down because I'm going to cut these brackets off. Plan is to put the other module here, and then rather than do a sort of top hat, I'm going to do a continuous sheet across the top, a sheet with two sides in it, which will drop down on the top here. Should just about have space. I'll probably change the way that these connections come in. Yeah, that's going to need some thinking about. But yeah, the plan is to have a sheet that drops down here and contains everything. Maybe this one will just have a slot in the back, and then I'll have a divider here to keep this battery box nice and dry. So this half is completely sealed and this half is semi-open, but then you've just got a nice continuous sheet across the top, which will look a lot nicer. I could just do a top hat here. That's the other option, of course, and then I've still got access to the junction box. That could also look pretty decent actually. Maybe that's the easier choice actually, just to do a top hat here and do something to make this box look nice. We shall see. Yeah, good progress really. But like I say, engine crane to get this out, unless I take all the bolts out and individually pull the modules out, which I'd rather avoid if I can. I have to find somewhere to tuck the heavy battery box when it's done then. Anyway, pretty close to being able to lift this whole lump out. and see what's gone wrong inside of it. That's it for today. Just a quick phone video because the rain's about to start again. In fact, the rain is starting again. Joy of joys. Yeah, thanks for watching. Follow along, like and subscribe if you want to see the rest of this rebuild. See me do things properly this time around. Yes, I am basically disguising fixes under the title of upgrades, but you know, it was always going to be a lifelong project. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.